Good morning, everyone. This is DSC 3 BA and DSC 3 Literary Criticism and Theory. We have finished our first module with the Plato and Aristotle. It's a classic age. It starts, that is a literary criticism, at least by now. Hope all of you you are aware of the fact that this is something different. It's not about having some literary works as prescribed topics and the teacher is reading for you. Teacher is giving you some meanings or an analysis, a comprehensive meaning. You read it, you interpret it. No, it's something of a different nature, a paper of a different nature. And now we have already have been introduced to Plato, Aristotle, two of the major classic critics. Right. So here you can see here the cortex details, everything is given, and obviously according to that cortex we have made this notes. We have to select, we have to choose the major points from this. We cannot teach whole of Aristotle. We can teach poetics, but not at UG level, but at a PG level. Postgraduate level, Aristotle can be a prescribed text. Most often as the first main topic in literary criticism and theory. This paper will not leave you anywhere. It will be there throughout. It will be there throughout. Sorry. So here, so that's what you mean by literary criticism and theory, the relevance of the paper. You will have to take it everywhere, every stage of your pursuing literature, study of literature. Literary criticism and theory is an essential paper, an inevitable paper. So here we come to the conclusion of we have concluded the discussion on Plato and Aristotle, and now we have to go to the second module. Main topic, it's the title goes like Indian aesthetics. What India, how the contribution from it. Plato, Aristotle, we know now they are classic critics. Greek, they are from they are from this classic languages. What is it? Clarity issues, anything? No. So, Indian aesthetics. Now, second module talks about Indian aesthetics. So, we have to see what India has to say about it, or Indian contribution. Later stage, we may have different theorists and proponents and contributors. But in the very initial stage, we have to look at the contribution from India for the area of literary criticism and theory at a very early time period, at an early stage, or the stage of its development, or even later. So, we will talk about theory of rasa, vyanjana, and alankara. Okay, and the core reading texts are given, but I have highlighted the major topics for your better access for the same. And then we will have for essays in module 3 with modern criticism. That is at a later stage. Or these major writers, see, these writers are not unfamiliar to you. William Wordsworth. You were introduced to Wordsworth in different papers. Say, for example, in history paper, or in some other poetry paper you have a poem by him, poem by William Wordsworth. In history also he is most often introduced as a poet, but he is not only a poet but also a literary critic. Some poets, some writers are like that. They are well versed in both areas. So sometimes we come across such people who are well versed in different areas. Even in genre wise, you see, some people write only fiction, some people try with poetry, some people uh, write every kind of, they try with every kind of literary genre. Like some of they are poem, they write poem, they write fiction, they write short story, whatever. Think about Kamala Das. She wrote poetry. Poems are there in her collection. Short stories are there in her collection. A kind of Lengthy writings are the like her own autobiography, something lengthy, almost equivalent to fiction length autobiography. So that's the way people do like that. And in the case in William Wordsworth's case, that is almost the same. He's a professed critic as well. Other persons' names, one person you may be familiar with, T.S. Eliot. Eliot's Wasteland. That reference might have already come in the discussion of History of English Literature paper. Right. That modern criticism, we will have to discuss four of the essays which are connected with the area of literary criticism. So this is about writing something, they're formulating some ideas with which you can read other literary works. Sometimes their own, sometimes other literary works. So that is the purpose of this module, modern criticism, with the four major essays prescribed. Why I am making this reference again? Because now you know what literary criticism is, what literary theory is. Okay. Then what about the fourth module? Just with a lot of terms. Lot of terms, even subcategories, subdivided into four major subdivisions are there, like figures of speech. Why should I teach you simile, metaphor, synecdoche, or something new? Metonymy, symbol, irony, paradox. These are figures of speech. I will have a suggestion for just for this part. If possible, if needed, if you are interested, you can try with one person taking one term. It's just four, maximum 4 to 5 sentence each. Simile, metaphor. That is, say for example, roll number one voluntarily comes and says that, yeah, before my teaching, I will supplement ideas. So my plan, if it is possible, some 7 people can come voluntarily, saying that I will do, so that will be taken into account of your seminar presentation. We'll send you the material, notes, everything, and you just make it and you make it presented. You make the presentation and describe it for the class. I'll take that account later. Movements I will teach you. It's something entirely new and comparatively very important, tough. So we'll have to get the description on the part of the teacher itself. Teacher herself, I think, yes. Concepts. That also is not really simple, but we'll have to. Literary forms. It's actually very simple, because lyric, ode, elegy, epic, sonnet, all these are familiar terms for you. So that with that we will try with the same technique of students coming voluntarily and taking one literary term each and describing it for the whole class. Even if it is something new, you can do that, because it's not just and it's not more than 5 or 6 sentences. So that part will be over. Others may do something else, like after my teaching you can have the same topics and start describing. This is a kind of challenge, because it's before the explanation you are going to do that. അപ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ക്ലിയർ, പറഞ്ഞ കാര്യം മനസ്സിലായിട്ടുണ്ടാവും എന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. അതായത് ഈ ഫിഗേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ചും ലിറ്റററി ഫോംസും പലയിടങ്ങളിലായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞതാണ്. പോയട്രിയിലെല്ലാം ഇതൊന്നും പഠിപ്പിക്കാണ്ടേ ഇല്ല, ഇത് ഓൾറെഡി എല്ലാം കുറേയും പഠിപ്പിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞതാണ്. അപ്പം അതിൻ്റെ നോട്ട്സ് തന്നിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ ഒരു കുട്ടി ഒന്ന് വെച്ചിട്ട്, ഇതിലിപ്പം 7 people can do already on this. Then ഇത് വണ്ണ് you just count this number. Then you can understand how many of you can take up that task. These two shall be taught by me. Don't worry, I'll not take risk. Now, so that's all with actually module 5 is about analyzing short forms. Now we'll have to apply what you get from here. It's not about no longer going to be the kind of very paraphrasing, the very surface level paraphrasing that you do, but very deeper level analysis. Now when you get a play, you can see whether there is a unity of action, whether there is unity of time, whether there is an agnosis, peripeteia in it. You will have to see, you will have to look at that. So you are delving deep into that. Just think about prosody. Unless and until you are introduced with the meter, metrical compositions, different kinds of meters, you just read a poem. You don't know whether this follows a particular meter or not. But once you are introduced into it, introduced with that, you can definitely have a look at it. When you get a piece of literary work, you can find out, you can look for that. Is what about tone, figures of speech? You get figures of speech here. So when you have a poem, when you read a poem, you can search whether there is simile in it, whether there is irony in it, whether there is the use of metonymy is there. So this is the way it is brought into the level of practice. That's why at the beginning, initial stage, with the literary criticism and theory, our creativity doesn't have much to do, much role. But after you are excelling in this area, your creativity, your brainstorming, everything is needed for the analysis of any piece of literary work or creative art, so that you can come up with an entirely different, very deep, very valuable readings, never done by, maybe never done by anyone else. Because you know a lot. Once after the discussion, you know what ambiguities, what affective fallacies, what negative capabilities, what's a myth. So all these ideas will be given to you. Then you can approach a literary work, any literary work, in a very different way, in a very professional way, in a very desirable way. That's what a student of literature should do. Think about a chemistry student going for salt analysis. We don't have much idea what is happening from combining one with the other. We don't know but or I don't know. I don't know about your case. I'm not much aware of. I opted for science at in my for my higher secondary, but I'm not much aware of any of this now, because it's already shifted from the area and all. Think about tuning fork, their frequency, marking down all those ideas, all those things are being done, but we don't understand the way they do. Is they are into that area, they are excelling, they are brushing up the area every time. In the same way we are doing with our theories. So that's what we also have our theory. I'll tell you. Module 2, Indian Aesthetics, main part. First main theory is theory of Dasa. Theory of Dasa. Sorry. Theory of Dasa. So Dasa. What is this Dasa? It's not first of all, it's not the kind of curry, that dish we have. No, it's theory of Dasa, and Dasa or aesthetic emotion. Another name is aesthetics. Aesthetics is immediately connected with the concept of beauty, adding beauty in art. In simple terms, it's Saundarya Shastra. Means you are adding, you are trying to make something beautiful. Your narration, your characterization, your portrayal. And from Indian terms, Indian ideas, we get a theory. Indian brain, we have a theory called theory of rasa or aesthetic emotion, the very cornerstone or nucleus of Indian aesthetics. Actually, this rasa theory is the nucleus of Indian aesthetics. Contribution from India to the field of literary criticism, main focus is upon theory of rasa. We have Alankara, Vyanjana also to be discussed, but main focus shall be on rasa theory. Every aesthetician in India has been aware of it, both in poetry and drama. So whichever the major literary genre existing during that time, or at an ancient stage, poetry, drama, and they were trying to, aesthetician means main artists, they were trying to, or they were aware of this, the importance of rasa, adding rasa. What is this rasa then? At least you might have come across Navarasas. We will have a list and we will have the discussion on it after the introduction or after discussing a few other details. Oh, we'll come to the detail later, but at least you know Navarasas are there, and sometimes you might have come across the reference somewhere. Hasya, Krodha, and list it goes with some 9 different rasas. And every aesthetician in India has been aware of it, so they might have tried to bring the element of rasa in their characters, portrayals everywhere. Then, who is the main contributor? Who is the major contributor is Bharata, the mythical author of Natya Shastra. Why it is mythical? Why he is mythical? About a 20th century writer, you won't see his mythical. About a 19th century writer also, we don't have to say mythical because they are part of history, very immediate history. Sometimes they may be even alive. Think about reading Chetan Bhagat novels or Paulo Coelho. They are alive. They are still there. So there is no anonymity, there is no confusion about their existence and their contribution. But here, Bharata, Indian, it's very ancient time. And think about how Beowulf remains as an anonymous text. Can you mark down an author for the text? Tell me. Beowulf. Is it the same way you talk about Tempest by Shakespeare? Or The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot? Can you point out a particular person, a particular writer, contributor? A name can you attach? Can you attach a name with the Beowulf? No. It's anonymous. Here we don't even say anonymous, but mythical. What's the difference? What's the point there? Actually, sometimes a very saint-like figure or someone. Sometimes a lot of people together might have formulated these ideas. So this name was confusing, but there might have been a person. Anyway, we have theory of rasa here. With the main text, Natya Shastra. From Natya Shastra, you have this text. Just wait. Mythical author of Natya Shastra recognized the supreme position of rasa in aesthetics for the first time. Actually, in that text, this is given in italics. Natya Shastra is given as the term is given in italics, and it's one of the major texts in this field, Natya Shastra. In that text, this importance of rasa theory or the rasa emotions, the adding of rasa in different literary realm or literary pieces of literary writings, how important it is for you to add the emotion of rasa or the element of rasa. This text itself discusses it in detail. So Bharata is considered to be the mythical author of that. Okay. Now, in Natya Shastra, an encyclopedic work, PAED, encyclopedic, encyclopedic work covering all aspects of the theatre. This is one very important benefit of this Google Docs. You have all suggestions, more authentic suggestions on spellings and all. It's online Google service that you are getting. So sometimes we check for Google, or at least most often we check for Google for such details. And you see that term once typed as that spelling was having an error. A spelling error was there, and it showed this suggestion immediately. Okay, so encyclopedic work covering all aspects of the theatre. Actually, Natya Shastra covers all aspects of the theatre. Means what? Poetry, drama, obviously something to do with the dramatic writings or plays of different kinds. But here Natya Shastra covers almost all the elements, almost equivalent to the way Aristotle did in his Poetics. So sometimes their ideas may be different. Aristotle also talks about some uh, dramatic form like tragedy. He mentions poetry as well, but his ideas are different. He doesn't talk about Jasa theory or anything. In Natyashastra, we get such other ideas. Once we have all these together in one platform, we can think. Now we have access to different theorists, different thinkers, their ideas. If you want, you can search for the element of Rasa. If you are interested in Indian aesthetics when you read a play or poem, some 10 students in the class get interested in with Aristotelian concept of tragedy. So sometimes when they get a play, they may be searching for the Hamertia and the relevance of Hamertia in it. But some other 10 students feel that no, we have our own Indian aesthetics. So let us search for this element of rasa in the play that we are reading or enjoying. So that's up to us which theory to be opted, which theory we have to opt, or theory we have to follow. That's our choice, but we have to know all these are there. Okay. Now, uh, Bharata analyzed Bharata analyzed the constituent elements that give rise to the experience of rasa. Bharata analyzed the constituent elements that give rise to experience of rasa. Now we are going to talk about the way rasa emotions occur or how it is there. How can you add this rasa element of rasa in words? So constituent elements out of some combinations it comes. So in the 6th chapter of the book, Bharata deals with the process of genesis of rasa. Genesis means what? So the process of evolving, genesis. Rasa through his famous Rasa Sutra. So that's the term, Rasa Sutra. So it's about combination, combining some elements. We will see out of the combinations. Now we come to very important terminologies in this set. That is out of combination of these three elements. Main three elements are listed 1, 2, 3. The first one is having some two sub elements. First one is vibhavas, anubhavas, vyabhichari bhavas. And vibhavas get divided into alambana vibhava and uddipana vibhava. We will discuss it in detail. What this is, what these terms mean. And when some terms are Sanskrit when you talk about Indian aesthetics. That's why some pronunciations are very important. Or even with the pronunciation, you cannot always assume the spelling. See the way Uddipana, why it is PP, double P is needed. Vyabhichari bhavas, it's read out as Vyabhichari bhava. Sometimes some people read it Vyabhikari bhava, but Vyabhichari bhava. But normally we assume it to be CHA, but here it is CA only. So the certain spellings will have to be noted down. You please note down the spellings while learning this. Indian aesthetics. Some Sanskrit, when you use the script of English, it looks like that. And some differences are to be noted down. Okay? Yes. Now we will discuss what Vibhava, what Anubhava is, what Vyabhichari Bhava is. And these two sub-elements also we'll have to see. Okay? Yes. So Vibhavas, now he says that out of the combinations of these three main elements that you get the element of rasa. First one, Vibhavas. What do you mean by Vibhava? Vibhavas are all cases. It's actually, the description goes like all the cases, direct and circumstantial, responsible for the arousal of an emotion. That's what you mean by Vibhava. All the cases, direct and circumstantial. Direct and circumstantial. So we will look at all these with some examples. Vibhavas means first two elements are noted down. Vibhava has two different sub-elements, alambana and uddeepana. Without knowing alambana and uddeepana, you won't understand what vibhavas are. Now to alambana. Alambana is the person or persons with the reference to whom an emotion is aroused. Okay. Person or persons with the reference to whom an emotion is aroused. That is the first point. Okay. We haven't listed out 9 different rasas yet. But I can tell you, for the sake of explaining this in a smooth way, love is one of the 9 rasas. Love is one of the 9 rasas. Anger is another one of the 9 rasas. 9 rasas we will list out, you will have to learn it. But now just take for granted. These two are 2 types of rasas. Out of 9, these two are two rasas I list out now for explaining this. Person or persons with reference to whom an emotion is aroused is called alambana. And uddeepana is all background features. Oh, features. No, it's my typing error. All background features enhancing the emotion. Okay, let us see. Think about Shakuntala's story. Have you ever come across Shakuntala Dushyanta love story? I have taken some images to show you. See here. This is Shakuntala and her friends. She is the foster child of Karna Maharshi, and actually in his absence, Dushyanta, the king, royal king, comes and they have a relationship. Shakuntala Dushyanta. That's the love story in Abhijnana Shakuntala. Kalidasa's Abhijnana Shakuntala. So that is, let it be there. That story will come to you in woman writing later. But here, just think that there are 2 persons, Shakuntala, Dushyanta. We are going to talk about their love, and so love as the rasa emotion. And when you represent them in writing, you are going to bring the element of rasa, or you're going to add the rasa element to this, the presentation of this emotion called the love. How will you bring the effect in a literary composition? That's what you mean by alambana uddeepana, the first part of rasa combination, that is in vibhava. Alambana uddeepana. Now we will take them as the example and explain. Shakuntala and Dushyanta, they are in love. And Shakuntala is the alambana of Dushyanta's love. Shakuntala is the alambana of Dushyanta's love. Why? What is alambana then? The person or persons with the reference to whom an emotion is aroused. Here, Dushyanta falls in love with a woman as she is there. Only because she is there, this love is possible. He falls in love with this woman. If there is a cat instead of Shakuntala on his way, if it is an elephant on his way, there is no point of talking about love, at least in Abhijnana Shakuntala. So you're talking about a literary work and how there is a relationship between this king and this woman, Shakuntala. They are in love and there is the emotion of love. And when you are presenting that emotion in that literary work, there should be the emotion of rasa. It should be out of rasa, elements of rasa, that you are presented with this emotion of love. And how can you evoke it? The first part is this alambana vibhava. Alambana vibhava. And what is alambana vibhava? In that case, Dushyanta falls in love with a woman only because she is there. He is in love. So that emotion of love is there only because Shakuntala is there. And what do you mean by this alambana or Shakuntala in this case? The person or persons with reference to whom this emotion is aroused. Okay, so that is the first point. Then what about Uddipana? All background features enhancing emotion. Then what? All background features enhancing the emotion. That's why I have shown you this picture. All background features. Now come back to that explanation. All background features enhancing this emotion. So the dominant emotion we are discussing in the case of these two persons or their love, that one kind of rasa, that is love, is first one, that Alambana is, that's a woman, Shakuntala, the person or person with the person with the reference to whom this emotion is aroused. But the second element is going to be, or the main other component is the background features that is enhancing the emotion. The dominant emotion is love. And background features, think about Shakuntala and Dushyantan. Now you saw that image where very beautiful background with the river, some other beautiful flowers, flora, fauna, everything. This is more clearer picture. There is a river Malini. In that, it's a river is the river is named Malini. She's with her friends, and there's very beautiful scenery all around. Think about these people. These two people meet in our waste dumping area where you have an open dumping. A lot of waste everywhere. It is it's a very problematic smell is coming out, and see, the atmosphere is fully surrounded with the waste materials and all. Think about the kind of rasa, that love feeling arousing out. It's not possible. That's what Bharata says. He says that, yeah, for the arousal of such an emotion, these enhancing background features are needed. Think about a bouquet with a lot of beautiful flowers arranged, well arranged, and a person is giving it to his or her lover. Either man to woman or woman to man, whatever it may be. Instead of that, think about placing the same beautiful rose flowers in a waste basket and getting it to the other. So background matters. As far as theory of rasa, Indian aesthetics and Natyashastra as a text is concerned, this person with the reference to whom an emotion is aroused is important, that alambana is important. Should be that in that case of arousing love, emotion of love, it should be a woman. Even Bharata may talk about a woman who beautiful, a young woman. She cannot be a very old woman. We, in a broad sense, we say love has no barrier of age and all. That's something different. But here, alambana, as far as this Indian aesthetics, you need all those intact. The background cannot be an open dumping space. Open dumping, we learn about it in UVS. That's why I mentioned that term without describing. അല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ ആലോചിച്ചൊക്കെ അപ്പം ആലംബന എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവിടെ ദുഷ്യന്ത falls in love with the woman called Shakuntala, a very beautiful girl, woman. Alambana is fine. Okay, that is there. What about Uddipana? അതിന് വേണ്ടത് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്? ഓൾ ബാക്ക്ഗ്രൗണ്ട് ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് എൻഹാൻസിങ് ദിസ് ഇമോഷൻ. അവിടെ നിങ്ങൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ വേറൊരു പോസിബിലിറ്റി എന്താണ്? ദേ ആർ മീറ്റിംഗ് ഇൻ ദ ഓപ്പൺ ഡംപിങ് ഏരിയ. അത് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ സംവെയർ അല്ലേ? ഭയങ്കര വേസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് എന്താ? ദർ ഇസ് നോ കവറിങ് ഓർ സംതിങ്. സോ കംപ്ലീറ്റ്ലി ഓപ്പൺ ഹീപ്പ് ഓഫ് വേസ്റ്റ്. അവിടെയാണ് ഇവർ വെയിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഒരു അറൗസൽ ആസ് ഇൻ ദ സെൻസ് ഗിവൺ ബൈ ഓർ ടോക്ഡ് ബൈ നാട്യശാസ്ത്ര will not be there. So that is very important that you have a background feature of that kind. So in that case, beautiful surroundings. Shakuntala is the alambana of Dushyantha's love, and which is the Uddipana Vibhava, the beautiful surroundings of the hermitage, flora, fauna, river Malini. These are the Uddipana Vibhavas. Okay? Yeah. So hermitage, Flora, beautiful surroundings of the hermitage. You saw that image. Flora, fauna, river Malini. See that? See this? River, flora, fauna, plants, flowers. Everything is contributing to that arousal of that emotion of love with the person. This woman is in love with the person, or they are in love. So, for the arousing the emotion of love as a rasa to evoke love, the feeling, emotion of love, this rasa is needed, and for the formulation of that rasa, these first two elements are satisfied. Shakuntala is there for Dushyanta to fall in love, and beautiful surroundings are there in the hermitage where she resides. Flora, fauna, river Malini, her pet animals, everything is there. Okay. But another example you take with a Macbeth. In Macbeth, if you know that story, then only you can understand that. Actually, that another rasa is fear. I didn't list out. I gave you anger and love and anger. But another third one you can take it as fear. Fear as the other kind of rasa. For that, actually, the apparition of dagger comes as the alambana. Dagger apparition. So ghostly figure comes as the alambana. And what are the uddipana vibhava? The uddipana vibhava for the arousal of love is not the same with the uddipana vibhavas needed for the arousal of fear. അത് വേറെയാണ്, ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആണ് അല്ലെ. ലവ് എന്നുള്ളതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ സറൗണ്ടിങ്സ് എല്ലാം വേണ്ടത്. ഇവിടെ എന്താണ്, ഫിയർ ആണ് ഉണ്ടാക്കേണ്ടത്. ഫിയർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ഇമോഷനാണ്. അപ്പൊ അവിടെ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് മിഡ് നൈറ്റ്, സ്ട്രെയിൻ സൗണ്ട്സ് അറൌണ്ട്, all these are uddipana vibhavas. So according to the kind of rasa, alambanas change, uddipana vibhavas change. Everything is different for different rasas. Arousal of different or evolving of different rasas, you have different combinations, but these terms remain the same. Alambana is needed, uddipana is needed, but different with the different 9 rasas. For love, it is something beautiful and aesthetically satisfying, but for fear, if it is fear or anger, it is different. You get the idea? Yes. Okay, we will talk about the other part in the coming session, I think, because it should not exceed the time today for the next hour arrangement. Thank you so much for listening. Well, please be reminded of all this. Okay, when I just try to read it, I will send you the file. So, thank you.